All right, I will call this meeting of the City Charter Review Committee for noon on May 23rd, 2024 to order. Our first item is continue review of the Toledo City Charter.
You don't have to take roll call? No? Okay.
For my last notes, so that we got through, looks like section
What-
7.
What part?
We kind of went back and forth. Let me see. So,
The city charter ends at section 7.
yeah, so on the model charter for Oregon cities, the neat version, we got through. It was page. Up to page 10 on the LOC version. There's that comparatively on next.
Okay, good.
Sorry.
Because I had a square thing. I didn't know if we had gotten to section 17 in the Toledo charter.
In the Toledo charter,
Would be right about what, 16?
section 16,
Oh, it says chapter 4.
maybe.
You said page 10 of the Oregon one,
Yeah, the LOC.
which puts us right around council president rules, meetings and quorum. I do remember bringing up that at least twice a month and 3 times a month, and we decided to stay with at least twice a month, so I don't know how far after
I
that.
remember talking about the frequency. I do remember that.
Yeah, we did kind of go over that.
And we talked about not setting term limits because of the lack of people signing up for it.
I would like to go back to one thing really quick, if the committee will. Yeah. Let's see where it's at. Go back to it.
The address for the charter. It's the hardest document for me to find on our site.
If you go to the Muni code
I'm on Unicode.
and then go hit browse codes.
Or on the left side, allow you to expand it.
So
Oh, get there, so you find it.
Find it.
Oh, now go, oh, no, you're in docs, so go back.
I should be able to help with that. If I was here on time.
Go to the home page. So go to.
Unicode, okay.
Then hit.
Where you are on that.
Yeah, page 10.
No wonder.
Somewhere in here.
And that's on the LOC.
The LLC,
Okay.
yes, page
Got
10.
that, and then I don't know where it is on the.
The other one, I'm at page 9 of 13. 'cause that's right.
Unfortunately, on the Toledo charter, it just kind of jumps around.
So where are we at?
Section.
No, section 4, or chapter 4, sorry. Where council's at.
Okay, yeah, I don't have page numbers on this one.
So
I lost all of my, so I picked that, so, but I got it.
So section 17 on the city charter, current one, president of the council, the committee said to keep that one. And then section 18, vote required, keep that section also.
Well, I did square something there at section 17, its first meeting after this charter takes effect. What happens if, when they do a charter review in X amount of years, it's on an even number, because it also states that we're supposed to elect a council president on the first odd number, or first meeting of the odd number.
Yeah.
What if they're opposite of each other?
They should never be, just because of the way elections
Right.
run, they always run on an even year.
Well, what I mean is I don't know when we're gonna set up to go over the charter again, instead of doing it 30 years from now.
It should definitely not be.
One of the
I
things
won't-
that I want to add to this is that it must be reviewed at least every 10 years.
Yeah, that's what I mean is, so if we set it to where that shows up on an even year, then it would be okay, because otherwise you're electing a city council president 2 years in a row. Is what I was getting at. If we reviewed it on an even number and then we elect on an odd number the next year.
But we don't elect on odd numbers. We always elect on an even number, and then the next count, when the council is seated, it's the even year.
What I
And
meant,
it's the odd year.
we elect here, it says to elect on an odd number. You elect a city council president.
Right, because the election, so like this year, it's 2024, but people don't take office officially
Right.
until 2025.
Right.
So we're always electing the council president because that's done by the council.
Right.
And it's always on the odd year.
But what I'm getting at is if we redo this charter on an even number, it says we have to elect one the very first meeting afterwards. That's what I'm getting at. So if we redo the charter,
Right?
say 2034, the very next meeting, we have to elect a city council president.
So we could just take off the language that says.
That's what I'm getting at is rewording it so it doesn't sound like we have to do it back to back in case it falls that way.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm not tracking.
Yeah.
Because the language says at its first meeting after this charter takes effect. So theoretically,
Oh.
if we adopted the charter,
In November,
yeah,
you would adopt,
Gotcha.
yeah.
you would adopt a new person.
Sorry, I'm not explaining myself well. I was just trying to change the wording.
President, my draft, I changed it from the draft OOC language to say at its first meeting each year. The council must.
Of
elect
the
a
first
president.
calendar, the first meeting of the calendar.
Like on your charter, what page are you on? Oh, you don't have page names. What chapter?
I don't know, the way you printed it,
Council president would be 3.4,
third page in, 3.4, yeah.
page 10 of 30 on Mike's LLC one.
There it is. It's like, it's on the double side of this second page.
Okay, so, let me.
No, on mine,
Oh.
no, yeah, on this one. There's no page numbers on this one.
Go back to one thing really quick. I'm not sure, it's on page 4 of the LOC model version. Roger, you need a copy?
Yeah.
The model version is this.
Yes,
Yeah, the LSD.
Each-
so on page 4 of that, towards the top,
I bet she's going by this.
Oh,
towards the top, item B, the mayor must sign all records of council decisions. Can we change that? So in the past, I came across an ordinance where this was more of a strong mayor form of government, and they switched to city manager. And so in my experience, the mayor will sign all resolutions and ordinances, but contracts and agreements are typically signed by the city manager because it's day-to-day operational stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if we can change this to read, the mayor must sign all resolutions and ordinances. And then somewhere under the city manager's section, we'll add that they sign all the contracts and agreements.
So I would say you're close. In my experience, you're right. Those are the two things I always sign, but there are also other contracts that I do sign. I'm a co-signer on.
Okay,
So I would say,
can we wordsmith it?
right, so I would say something like all resolutions, ordinances, and other documents as needed by the city.
Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of the state documents,
Yeah.
you have to have the highest elected officials.
Yeah.
Signature on them.
Okay, that makes sense.
Not as
Especially on-
needed provides a pretty large umbrella, I feel like, so.
That was the one thing I just wanted to go back to. Thank you so much.
We're still on section 4, or are we done, or chapter 4?
I believe so.
So,
Actually. Say the administration, quasi judicial authority.
So we
think
kept
we
through
did.
three
We
sections in there,
did.
Mike.
What's that?
We kept through three sections in there, the quasi judicial.
Yeah. So I think we're past. And then you go on to elections.
which I think we did elections, right?
Yeah, because there was a question about the lots.
Yes,
You are right.
my question. Oh. Didn't we do we were talking about the appointing, but I don't know if we made it through appointed officers. I'm looking at Mike's version right now, which is chapter 8.
Sorry that I'm late. I have a severely injured animal. I'm trying to deal with a feral cat, so I'm not with animal control. I would note that we went through sequentially up until page 10 of the model charter instead of start on 523, section 7.9. So I'm sorry, we blew through 30 minutes of me jerking around with my cat. Trying to do stuff. I missed it.
Oh, you're good, man. I fully understand. I had
Yeah.
issues with animal control. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody in this room have a small animal trap?
I know somebody who does.
Raccoon trap.
Yeah, afterwards, let's talk, because I have one of my own, and I think that's what to do.
Greg Musel, the Brewer Coalition, they've got live cat traps that I borrowed before, and I can give you his information.
Perfect.
They also have antibiotics and stuff too.
Okay.
Save
Side
the
note.
kitties.
So now that we have solved that issue.
On to 7.9.
7.9.
Filling vacancies.
I think we do filling vacancies?
Yeah, we talked about it and said we have to come back to it.
So I'm turning the gavel over to you. Have a great day.
I'm assuming we took a roll call and everybody's here and.
Except
We didn't
Jackie.
do, yeah, Jackie's not here. We didn't do a roll call.
No.
Did we?
Okay, everyone said they're here. Yep.
I'm here.
Established. All right, thanks.
Okay, so this is.
So we were on filling vacancies and I think it was too big of a topic, so we decided to break at the almost 90-minute mark.
So filling vacancies on Mike's is 7.10,
Right.
and then. In the current city charter, where is that at? Chapter 8 vacancies in office. Which is on the last page.
Let's see what that's.
This one at 7.10. It's. Yep.
General.
Okay, so a clarification that I need is 2B. On ours, sorry.
Up further.
So absent from the city for 30 days.
Because one of our counselors is going to be on vacation for the month of June, but his plan is to zoom in.
Yeah, because this is all done before the
Right.
entrance of Zooming and stuff
So-
like that.
Should we change that to read,
It does say without the council's consent.
but the only way the council can give consent is at a meeting?
But would you be able, if you were absent from the city and attending via Zoom?
Yes, sir.
I think that the legislative fix that occurred in 2021 to the public meetings law that allowed for remote attendance actually required remote attendance fixes that. Because you have to allow them to Zoom in. They're not absent.
I know but that's what I'm getting at is that they can zoom in, then that's where I think we need to change this up a little bit in that for like, other than health reasons, must attend, say, must attend 50% of meetings in person or something.
Didn't we already talk that? I thought 75% is too high. And I thought.
I wasn't here last meeting,
And
so
75% is what we have.
is what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Over a 6-month period.
I don't remember what we talked about.
Because we do have people that, get ill.
Yeah.
And they can do it from home. And that's okay, but we should try to find a way to get them in.
Present, you know.
Preferably, but
Yeah.
I mean, they want them to be zooming if they can, so.
Yeah.
So you're talking about just shrinking it down to like a 50% instead of the 75%.
Right,
Yeah.
in person.
That makes more sense.
I don't know, can we require in person with the new state law?
David?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Great.
I don't have it in front of me.
I'm looking at,
Cause I
So
believe,
how do we know if somebody's living in town or not?
Isn't it
Ever?
Voter record.
voter, yeah.
I buy a house in Toledo. I put my name on it. I change my ballot registration to be that address. I could live on a cruise ship the rest of my life and be considered a resident of Toledo.
for 500,000, you can do that.
You know what I'm saying? I just picked the wildest thing I could, and that's pretty wild.
That's actually not that wild because transient settlers have to have a residence somewhere. They gotta pick a country, they gotta pick a state, pick a place where they're voting.
You know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it's a loophole.
Geez,
What is it? Should
I
they
think
be
the
represented too?
appeals process for any violations now is the Oregon Government Ethics Commission. So if you thought somebody was falsifying their residence, I think you'd make a complaint to the Oregon Government Ethics Commission. They would open up an investigation, let them do the work. I think formally you might have had to go to a court of appeals or something like that.
Is it that or Secretary of State?
That depends because I think there's dual jurisdiction, like residency where you live, maybe Secretary of State, but then you have elected official law, which is all go to Oregon Government Ethics Commission now.
Well, then if we can't require to be in person, then we have to keep, I think, at least the 75%. If all you ever do have to come in on Zoom. I'll be blunt, if I can do it from Hawaii, people can do it from anywhere, and I've had to do a meeting from Hawaii before.
Let me clarify now, what is the exact issue? Is it if someone appeared for, say, 100% of their meetings by Zoom, is that the problem? Or is it the not
Yeah,
appearance?
that's, okay, in my opinion, that's a problem, because in my time of doing a bazillion freaking Zoom meetings, it is nothing compared to being in person, looking at people, being able to interact humanly with folks to get stuff done. Number one, people on Zoom meetings generally don't speak up. Okay.
There's also the technical issues that come into play. People might not be able to see you. It's
I've done it
just,
once, I don't want to do it again.
it's easy. Like, I mean, realistically, you could be watching Netflix on another screen essentially and kind of like not really be fully there, you know?
Or you could be
Doing
doing
something.
recreational activities while they're in a meeting.
I was about to say that, or you could be smoking a bowl while you're on camera.
Well, the same is true in public, although we wouldn't like to think so, but how many meetings have you been to where someone's got their phone in front of them and you don't know whether they're using it to research questions they hand or playing Candy Crush on it.
But if you're live and in person and I'm seeing you on your phone all the time, I'm gonna call you out on it.
David, I have a question.
Yes,
So this discussion right here is about how many absences.
yeah, we jumped back.
And yeah, and no, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Bear with me for a second here. So this is talking about how many absences, and this is under the section of vacancies. So in all honesty, can we remove that B for a separate section? And I'll get to that in a second. And then this just say, because I don't really see it, removal from office. Because then that, it addresses that issue, and then the absence could be a separate section about how the council is going to address absenteeism.
I would address absenteeism in council rules.
Which is,
Although,
which is fine, but then this at least is just, this is simple, it's,
And you gotta realize the way it's written, it's upon declaration by the council after the incumbent's absence from the city for more than 30 days without council's consent. So council has to affirmatively
But how, okay,
declare.
but here's the issue. What can
it's-
stop me from lying to you if all I ever do is come in on Zoom?
Yeah, you cannot be, I think the root of all this is that you could be representing the city without being in the city.
Correct.
And that's.
As long as you got a mailing address in the city.
Which is the reason why you should be part of the city. I mean, why you want people outside your city making decisions for your city.
You want accessible representation as well. If I had a council member that I only ever saw on a computer screen, you know, it shows kind of a lack of just being present.
But you have to, that's the number 4, ceasing to reside in the city.
But. Okay,
I know, you're saying that.
There's a loophole.
Yeah.
Video.
how many, and you've been here long enough,
Yeah.
how many business owners tell us they should have a say of what's going on in the city because they own a business here? But they don't live in the city. But
It's
they
like the
could
guy
list
doing
that
the
address and then they could do it.
Yeah.
Because if you come in and do the whole, like, what, it's like you have to be here for 6 months or a year before you can even be eligible to be part of city council. So I come and do that.
But if you list that
requirement,
address,
And then I move up to Portland essentially, but keep this address.
there you go. I mean, there's a reason why local government is the most responsive government that we have. It's because we gotta walk into JC Market.
Mhm.
We gotta take a stroll through the timbers. We've gotta drive up and down the streets and get said things.
So David, when I'm reading through that public meetings law, I might
Yelled at me while I
be in the wrong area, but
Get out my store.
it does say that when we have a meeting, we have to provide electronic means to the general public. It doesn't talk about our members.
Adams?
That's been there for a while.
yes, when COVID started, the law changed that
Yeah.
if a city
This is-
started providing electronic means for the public, they have to retain that electronic.
Even though,
Yeah.
right, even if things are back open again, you
Mhm.
still had to maintain.
The way I read it, it's all for the public. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily for the board.
Yeah,
I don't know, in my expansive
I don't know. I'm just trying
civil
to.
rights law mind, I kind of implied that to the elected officials too.
I mean.
Well, I understand where you're coming from. I just see a whole
I mean,
can of worms.
Even before all the recent statutes, as long as you had a quorum in the city limits, you were good to do stuff remote, because I did school board remote from Afghanistan.
Well, and then when I read the.
But
it says,
they granted you the leave as far as, right?
if electronics means is used,
No.
the governing body of the public body shall make available to the public, and then it goes on to talk about the public at all meetings shall be able to attend. You know, via telecommunications or electronic or virtual means, but. I don't know,
But
maybe
does
there's
the
another
public
section.
include the board?
That's just what I've looked up. So-
Yes and no, and remember, we're talking about two different concepts. What's an absence? And what is, whether, you know, being in person, whether we can compel someone to come in person, because there is that other statute that I can't cite too, that,
Yeah.
you know, the governing body can convene and compel the attendance of an absent council person. What if they zoom in?
There you go.
They're here, technically. I think as we start to get deeper and deeper, we almost get into a path that we can't solve.
Unwinnable.
At least not with the words that I have in my brain right now.
Yeah. I agree.
Uh-oh, when both attorneys are laughing, we're all in trouble.
Yeah, for real.
Kids get beat.
Oh, man.
Laughing at ourselves because we're tired.
It's interesting. Catch
And Mike, if
22.
you were looking, I was on, I'll give you that, it's just a second. That was 192,610.
So just to,
I glanced at,
Or
chapter
670,
192.
192,670.
The House bill that I think Lisa referenced, it's House Bill 2560. I glanced at that too, but this recent change, all meetings held by a governing body or public body excluding executive sessions must provide to members of the general public. Okay. So it's just saying general public, yeah.
Okay,
So
one,
say that again, Doug,
go
192.
ahead.
670. 670. I think that's it.
Here's. To address a far out example. For instance, the voters in Toledo elected someone with some profound illness. That they don't go, or when they do go out, a respirator and a bubble. Would you want to get into a thing where you're gonna compel them to come into?
and that's,
thinking of.
see, that's the other side of the coin.
They are elected and people knew that when they were elected.
Exactly, and that's the other side of this
So you
coin.
don't want to restrict that person
Yeah.
from being able to fulfill their duty, but at the same time.
I would just say absent is absent, and if they come by Zoom, it's not an absence.
Yeah.
I think that's the way we have to live with that.
The first time on the school board, there was somebody that missed a few meetings and then I got notified she died.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can,
I think it might be smart to err on the side of caution with this one. And then, if there is an issue with somebody constantly zooming in, there is a suspicion that they are not residing within the city. Unfortunately, that might just be the time to cross that bridge instead of trying to.
So how about this? If they are on by Zoom, their screen has to be on.
I plan to include that in the guidelines.
I think that's
that
good.
would be a rule of the council.
Not if Lisa is running the meeting. He won't let you activate your camera.
But,
So that's a bad rule.
and also too, one of the reasons why I mentioned like this is a separate, why this is a separate issue from the absence versus just the removal of office is because then with the absenteeism addressed in a separate section, we can implement the Oregon state law that allows the council to discipline someone. So then they can bring it before the council saying, okay, you have excessive absences. We need to discuss this, is there, are you okay? Is it another issue? Things like that. And so that's why my suggestion is to remove it from this thing, not addressing how many absences in this vacancy, because that's a different concept altogether.
Mhm.
One of the other questions in vacancies, I'll give you a real life example. In 2000 and, this would be 2007, Mayor Brandstetter passed away in April. Just got elected. I was the council president. So I took over as mayor at that point. And then because there was so much time left, we selected a new mayor from the council, but there's nothing in here to say that's the process we use.
That's the process I want.
Well, that would be a good process. I'm just saying, there is nothing in here spelling out what that process is.
So do we need to have like a section of?
In the event of.
In the event of a passing of mayor.
In 710, a mayor, the mayor is not addressed in the current charter. Mayor or council vacancy shall be filled by appointment by a majority of the remaining council members.
Okay, then that covers that. Okay.
Yeah.
It could, because I knew that that was a goal.
Because one of our favorite attendees, Mr. Chambers, was the previous council president, and he said he wasn't gonna run again, so we made him mayor. No, he was okay with it. That's why I give him so much grief and call him Mr. Mayor all the time.
That's the one that comes into our meetings occasionally.
Occasionally, you haven't been here long.
No, I haven't.
I keep giving him grief about you should run or
Wait,
be
where's
appointed.
that?
You're here.
Well, then it's
I
also.
know somebody that wants to run it through the students out though.
The next page, talks about filling a mayoral vacancy.
Information on what
If-
it is.
if there's-
Okay, that's what we were
there's
talking, okay,
that,
I was
yeah.
looking at the 7.10 filling vacancies where it says a mayor or council.
Oh,
So, but
Yeah.
there's an actual mayoral
yeah, actually, I've
vacancy.
covered that, yeah.
I see, yeah. Slack it.
That's good. It's hot?
I said I got caught.
Oh,
Yawning.
trust me.
Oh.
Not sleep I've been having, that's high on my radar list. So were we back at vacancies again?
7.9. 7.1 respectively.
See, I remember going through this because the conviction of a misdemeanor or felony crime, we spent a long time talking about that. Because it
While
was,
in office.
yeah, that's why, that was the whole, yeah, and so.
Well, yeah, that's a quasi judicial authority. That's under 6.2. So. Below it.
Which one are you looking at? League of,
Yeah.
League of.
Vacancies. 7.9.
Oh, okay, okay. I was looking at,
Mike's version.
Mike's, yeah.
So are we keeping 7.9 and also 7? And we have two 7.10s in Mike's judge of qualifications and filling vacancies.
I don't have.
You're not a mathematician.
One part of it, I've got about the alternate.
Doug? What? I just.
Trying to stay away from it.
I know.
Okay, so. What are we looking at right now? We're looking at the two 7.10s on Mike's version. Is
The
that
filling vacancies.
the filling vacancies, so 7.10, part D.
Yeah.
That.
Shouldn't it be 3 and 4 though? If it's reduced to 3, they gotta bring it up to 4 for a form. Or am I confused on how it's worded?
Just for the appointment to get us to that. That's a good way to do it.
I was confused on what was, how it's that wording. I didn't know.
Well, so if we get down to 0, that's when the county steps.
That's the
We don't ever want to get to 0.
Notwithstanding the quorum requirement set forth in section 3.7, which I highlighted 3.7, so I go back and make sure that it lines up.
Oh,
Yeah. If at any time. Council membership is reduced to less than 4, the remaining members may by majority action appoint additional members to raise the membership to 7.
I like that.
So if you don't and you drop below quorum, you just, without that, you have a counting a point.
Yeah, you can't have new business.
You can't do that. That's kind of just a savings clause.
You want to make it the first less than 3? In case we have an incomplete council?
Less than 3. Do you think you're gonna get down to two?
I sure thought, hope not.
I think the only way it would get to that is either catastrophe. Okay,
Or everybody's traveling on the same bus?
well, recall, not, but catastrophe, or recall.
Mm.
Because if there's only 5 of us up there at the time and they recall 3,
Or if people's terms expire, and nobody goes out to run for that seat. That would be the only way. Because you can lose 3 at a time. If
we
3
can
people
lose
didn't go
4
out.
technically, because
Oh,
you
yeah.
lose the mayor.
You're not allowed, I'm shackling you to the desk over there.
So we have,
You
how
can try.
many, whose terms are coming up?
3,
3.
4, his and 3.
I'm up every
council
2
members.
years.
Oh, yeah.
Mayor's every 2, and then we have 3 council members that'll be going up to reelection. Well, no, sorry.
You were here last time I.
Too strong.
Change that. Thank
So
you.
there's gonna be an empty seat there that somebody's gonna need to run
If
for.
you'd like the mayor to be that.
No, here's the reason why I like the 2 years, and there are people that will complain about this, and trust me, I get their complaints. In my philosophical belief, the mayor has to represent the entire town. Okay, and if you get 4 years and you're a crappy mayor, you can do a hell of a lot of damage in 4 years. Okay, if you're responsible to the people every 2 years, okay, then you better be out talking to them, and you better be solving issues, and you better be doing your job, or you'll be out.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, that's the way it should be. I understand the argument of that you're always running. That's what I hear from my friends up in Portland. But I'm like, since when are you in Congress? You're not in Congress. You're the mayor of that town. Get out, meet people. As David will understand this, get out of your damn condo and go talk to people. David, it's a specific reference to a situation that you had.
I think especially in a small community like this, you know, I agree with that sentiment that every 2 years it's enough to get things done, but not cause irreparable damage.
There you go.
Well, and I had brought it up, we talked about, I don't know if it was no, it would have been last time, because you were at, and it was the time before that, about making it 4 years. And you had said that that makes it tough, because if you're every 4 years, then nobody on council could run for mayor, because you can't be council and mayor at the same time.
Exactly.
I think you're attributing what I said to him, but I'm happy for you to do that.
Well, it was part of our discussion we had in here.
No, we did discuss that.
Yeah.
All of us, like.
They had brought up, I thought maybe the mayor should be every 4 years, and that's when it
And
was.
I said, well, then the 3 that are on the off year are never gonna be able to switch.
Exactly.
Yep.
But, yeah, for those of you that haven't been around me in this position, and it's one of the things that I'm preaching at the mayor's association, is that you represent your whole town, not just those people that love you. You got to represent those that think you're the worst thing since sliced bread, and you better figure out why they think that. Because your town can't move forward if it's divided.
That's a fact.
Well, that's what we went through.
Mic drop.
Just don't want to go there again. I didn't like packed houses with people screaming at each other.
Sounds like so much fun though.
No, trust me, I'll make it not fun.
So at the end of that filling vacancies, it's, if a disability prevents a council member from attending quorum meetings. From attending council meetings, or a member is absent from the city, a majority. Of the council may appoint a counselor for them.
That should come off, honestly, because if they can show up by Zoom,
Yeah,
we don't need to appoint somebody pro tem, because they can have a disability or be sick and still be able to Zoom from home.
yeah.
So that kind of puts something on the rest of the council members if they have to do something they really shouldn't.
What does a counselor pro tem mean anyways?
A temporary council member to be able to do business.
Yeah, no.
We don't need that.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'd say wipe out that sentence. I agree.
Again,
Well, I feel better now. If an attorney agrees with me, I feel a little better.
Or you should be scared.
Depends on the attorney.
That's actually, it does conflict. If council members can appear by Zoom, and if they're so sick, they can't appear by Zoom, so it's wraps, they're not here. And then you. So then you.
Feedback.
29 when we have that event, declaring a bake, that whole sentence is covered.
So the footnote in the LOC example says, permanent, a member's disability in this section is usually temporary. If the disability is permanent, it often results in the resignation of the disabled member. A permanent disability does not create a vacancy unless the member resigns. However, the council may appoint a pro tem counselor.
No.
And may continue until a successor to the disabled member is elected to its office.
Because of the Zoom option, I mean.
Yeah.
You know, and if they can't do it by Zoom, then, then we should encourage them to resign. And that
Well, and
makes
even
it clean.
then, we still can have a quorum, even if one person's not showing up, we still have a quorum with the other 6.
Right,
So there's no real huge rush to.
that's when you have 4 and you're begging people, just come in on Zoom, okay,
Yeah.
please. Which we've done.
So what if that is a debilitating like stroke and they can't, and they're
Then-
working on speech, getting their speech back and
And
they can't?
well, you can ask them to resign.
Yeah.
The other thing you can do is because Zoom, you could have someone typing in the chat what their responses are.
And we can
Slobber.
designate.
They can't.
Oh, Lord have
Sorry, I'm tired. It's so many types of slobber. No, I mean, really, if.
If someone has that big of an issue,
And
they
actually,
should resign.
Yeah, if they
And if-
care about their city, they should.
Yeah, they would,
They're
yeah.
gonna be concentrating on getting them.
They should.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have to worry.
Exactly.
we would hope they would.
Right.
If they've got that big of an issue, they may not be able to resign.
Well, not only that, but
No.
there's also the clauses in here that the council can vote to remove a member from
Right.
seat. So
Yeah.
if they are unable to resign or they won't
Or they're
resign,
unwilling to resign on slobber.
then we can
I'm
vote
never
to
gonna let you
remove them
forget
from
that.
office anyway, so.
On the keyboard. Courtesy
That
of mine.
creates a whole new situation.
I'm also kind of thinking of like an event of like a coma. You know, so you would be unable to.
That's where we can take
resign.
action,
Yeah.
because that would be obvious, as it were.
Yeah, that.
And since we are not in a monarchy, no, the spouse does not get to automatically take over.
Or the son.
You wouldn't want my kid in here,
Which one?
any of them.
I was not commenting about recent elections because I should not do that. That was public. I was just giving you an example.
He's trying not to choke right now.
Are we
You can't say that.
filling vacancies or?
I think we're done there, moving on to 8, aren't we?
Chapter 8?
In Mike's version, we have 7.11 compensation expenses.
Well, that was one option as a place where to put that.
Do you have another copy of Mike's up there? Cause I don't have Mike's.
I don't know if that's the best place for that. Seems kind of like a really strong pivot from like vacancies to like compensation.
It's in elections.
Okay, I guess, yeah, if it's,
Yeah.
it just still seems like such a.
I believe.
Where?
Under where it is.
I mean, would we be open to maybe putting it above vacancies or, I don't know, I guess that doesn't really matter right now, it just.
You could,
It just seems like an odd place.
I just kind of came across different examples, the
Yeah.
bottom example, well, we want to discuss this later, I guess.
Yeah, that could all be combined into the end, couldn't it? The compensation expenses? What we're talking
It can
about.
be wherever it needs to be. I did start going through the notes and starting to draft something, so I'm hoping in the next meeting I'll have an outline of the chapters as well as some of the notes that we can go over,
Perfect.
to make sure that the committee has some time to review it.
So we can move 7.11 to a later date, talk about that when we talk about the rest, okay?
I did make a note, I can put it under elections, or we can put it wherever we need to.
Like, I could see it almost going under chapter 3, the council, but that was just my opinion.
Oh, for the form of government.
Yeah, I feel like it's in a weird spot, but that's. One second. So we're moving past 7.11 and discussing that at a later time is what I'm hearing, or?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're on Mike's version, chapter 8, appointed officers, correct?
Yeah, I think that's the same in all of them.
Chapter 8. And then. Well, on our current charter, it's what? It goes from chapter 8 is vacancies in office.
The current charter, it's section 10 on the first page of the office.
Other officers, okay, it's on the first page of our current charter.
Discuss it or charter related. Uh.
Well said.
Related to. Appointed officers versus. Counselors. And I think basically what. I think basically what I did in here is take the draft LOC. Appointed officers, there's some changes, a few changes down here below.
We're looking at our current charter, the section 10 other officers, it just seemed like there was. It needed more. Exposition, I guess you could say, I felt like it needed to be broken out more, so more towards. Mike's and the LOC version of it, because I remember having to read that section like 5 times. And being like, because it's like, you can combine these, but not these, and it just. It was very wordy, so.
Well, they don't want the city manager who's kind of got the, I mean, at a city level, it's kind of all 3 legislative, judicial.
Yeah.
It functions the government, but you don't want that to be the same person as the judge.
No, and I recognize that, and I understand it, but I felt like it was hard to, because getting back to having the regular layperson being able to understand and digest this information, I felt like that was not digestible. And so having it broken out in the LOC in your version is more palatable for somebody like me who's new to all of
It's
this.
really palatable. I
So,
mean, I agree with you. I looked at that a number of times when I.
So David and Mike,
Clear.
can you explain to me in the section 8 appointed officers of the LOC one, what the difference is between section B and section D? Because D sounds like you can add or remove sole discretion of the council. B adds some, shall we say, caveats to that. So why do they have both in there?
I think B is just adding. Without regard to political consideration. Solely on the basis of education and experience.
Right, on the basis of education, experience, and competencies and practices of local government management. Put that in plain English.
Experience.
Yeah, I read that as somebody,
But
Positions of the position.
what does, but it talks about, the very first sentences is a majority of the council must appoint and may remove the manager. What does the rest of that have to do with removal?
I guess if somebody maybe falsified their education
I mean,
or
it's kind of
experience.
Criteria for appointment.
But how is it an appointment for removal? If you've already appointed them, I can get that. That makes sense for appointment. But how does that make sense for removal?
Well, in that second sentence says the appointment, it leaves off removal. So in my mind, a majority of the council must appoint mayor, the manager, and B. It's kind of a way of restating D of the first sentence, the manager may be appointed for a definite or indefinite term and may be voted at any time by a majority of council. It's doing the same, those two sentences are doing the same thing.
I know, so why?
Combine them.
Can we combine them?
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of B because it gets,
I think that first sentence in B is, yeah, kind of duplicative, right?
right,
I mean, it's saying it another time, so if anybody questions the council's ability to. You can point to two different places. But I don't see why I personally don't see a reason not to combine them. And just delete that first sentence of B is what I do, I like this.
Combine D with height.
D better.
Yeah, because if there's qualifications, then, that kind of already covers the whole solely on the basis of education, experience, and competencies, and practices of local government management.
for appointment,
So
yes.
Yeah.
And remember, then once the manager is appointed, they serve as an employee under a contract, so removal will be determined by what the contract says. So I kind of get why.
They're also considered an at-will employee, so you have to always make sure that that's an understood part of it. You may have a contract, but it's a contract of at-will.
What does that mean?
So that means that if four counselors wake up one morning and have a wild hair, it could conceivably start the process of getting rid of a city manager.
Or the city attorney removed for employment for no reason at all.
Okay.
Good cause, no problem, bad cause.
Isn't that state of Oregon anyways? Right, work state?
It's the default unless you state otherwise in your employment agreement. I can only be fired for cause. And those are negotiated terms that happen in the appointment process.
I thought it was a right to work state.
Oregon?
Yeah.
It's a gray state in that regard. No, because in some instances, like, so, right, I mean, compared to Idaho, we're not a right to work state. Compared to a few other places like New York, we're a right to work state. It's just, it's all relative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cause no, I remember signing past work agreements that you can be fired for no cause.
That's why these guys will never run out of a job.
Yeah, that makes life interesting. Job security.
Okay, so getting back to it, we've decided that we're gonna kind of combine B and D.
Yeah,
right.
And C, the manager need not reside in the city.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's not like city council members where we have to reside within
Oh,
city
this
limits.
is a big issue back at the turn of the century here. We want to make them live in the city, and the reason that was given, which has merit, okay, is that then they have to live with the same decisions that they make. However, even then, trying to find housing was a pain in the tuchus. So that's what ultimately swayed us was, we want them here, if they can figure out where to live, they can live here.
Housing is the issue, the main issue.
It is, and like I said, it was an issue 20 years ago.
Even more so
Well,
now.
there's also the,
Now it's completely ridiculous.
I mean, it used to.
but no, on LOC,
What's that?
the the model charter, the footnote is saying that there's some caveats that you can add, that it's must become and remain a resident of the city while manager. Or if a residency requirement is desired but is not practicable due to a housing shortage or other condition, the following may be added, but must live within 30 miles of the city. Either requirement can be imposed more flexibly by ordinance or contract. So has that been an issue? Like, I kind of agree with the whole representation of the city should live within the city.
No, that's what I'm checking.
Well, I would impose it flexibly by contract because your city manager is your emergency management
Yeah.
executive. They need to be close.
Dots is only 23 miles away.
Oh,
Well,
And I helps it take 40.
It's called 101.
Because there's like the idea of like competency, finding a competent employee, but like the residency creates another like issue.
To the front end of Lincoln
I think-
City. It's 31 miles to the back end of
You
Lincoln. City.
could put a, you know, in all technicality, you could put a radius on that, because as it was stated, they tend to be emergency. And you want that response. That they can be here within quote unquote, they don't want you to put time on it, but because the problem that on our attorneys have with putting time on it is that, okay, I can live 45 minutes and still get there, 45 miles away and still get there in 30 minutes, but
Yeah.
so they usually put a mileage requirement.
You were a cop once, weren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So can we change it to the manager need not reside in the city, but must be within 30 miles?
How about this? Must reside within the county.
I would say.
That,
County.
That works.
the county, yeah, because you're still gonna have,
Living in Corvallis.
No.
no.
I would reserve it to individual city manager contracts and not put it in the charter.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's surplus here.
Do we need to
That way you
put
can
something then
negotiate
in the
that with
chart
the city manager.
saying that it will be contract by contract?
Yeah, I mean, there's wording in the footnote that allows you to be
Mhm.
flexible by contract.
Because if it's just like, let's say, we need a city manager, there's a very strong candidate, but they do live in Corvallis, Willamette, and there's nobody else, you know, and so.
We're gonna get our flying.
Go right back out again. Like,
We're getting our flying cars in like 10 years. So your next city manager could live in the valley.
David, how old are you?
Great on your business.
Listen, young man, they've been talking about us having flying cars since the 60s. Okay?
Well, that's because they were high on acid.
No, that's.
Yes.
But I think, I mean, I like the idea, I just think that there should be like a caveat, you know, and something that we shouldn't have it that they need not reside in the city, but should be determined contract by contract.
I mean. I know I wrote this and I used the draft that they did, but I kind of agree it's surplus and. If the council sits up there and says they want somebody to live 15 miles or 30 miles or 45 miles, they could do it, they could adopt an ordinance. To bind the next council until they undid the ordinance or just negotiate it in the contract.
Yeah.
Weird.
So do we
Public Works Director checks.
leave it as the manager need not, or do we like change the
Just say
language
need
to
not
say?
reside in the
I think
city.
you should
Leave it.
Just say, just leave it as need not reside in
Yeah,
the city.
that's true. Then you can still negotiate it.
Exactly.
I have one question in regards to that semi-related. So we technically do not have a job description for the city manager. Anytime that we've recruited, I've pulled stuff from the code. Is that something that, I don't know if it's like a policy to actually create a job description or elaborate it in here more, because like.
Well, I think we've always used the charter because that lays out what their job duties are.
Yeah.
And I like some of the ones from the current city charter, make annual reports more frequently if requested by the council, working on all ordinances.
Do you think that letter C needs more words than just the manager needs not reside in the city, because that reads like an absolute rule? I think there needs to be a comment that says, the council made by resolution, adopt residency requirements or something along those lines.
That's what I-
And it-
Negotiable by the city council, but maybe negotiable by the city council, something like that.
Like the city manager residency determined by council.
They say, we know we have a 15-mile radius requirement. And I'm reading this. I says, wait a minute, your charter says the manager need not reside in the city.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. It needs, like, maybe it's the manager residency to be decided, determined by council rule or something, like, I don't know, I think it needs to, because. Yeah, I see it as, that's like a qualification.
You know what? No, I'll undo that. My brain's broken.
Okay.
I think just striking it, I think. I don't know.
It'll be kind of like a case by case determination.
Yeah, because if it's not there, the council can decide on a case by
It's a
case.
negative rule. That's what I'm struggling with. So
Yeah.
you could strike it and have the same effect as having it there.
Yeah,
I'm all for striking
Or
it.
you just say residency will be determined within a contract, something to that effect.
Yeah.
Or you just
Okay, but here's, okay,
put a line through it and it's.
Just leave it out, you know.
let me play devil's advocate here for a second. So council A hires manager A.
Okay.
2 years later, council B comes on and decides that manager who's living inside the urban growth boundary, well, now we decide that all managers must live inside the city limits.
And then it's.
In your case, yes. But we had another one that lived just outside the urban growth boundary. Do we make them move,
I see your point.
It's a good question.
no,
right? Do we use that as the way to get rid of them?
Yeah, see, that's an issue.
So maybe we just leave it. Forget I brought it up. It's perfect sentences. That's it.
I mean, a council can blatantly ask somebody, you know, do you plan on residing in the county at least? And they say, no, well, that's a factor in employment.
and I think. The council, by going to the voters and charter, probably get away with what. Once upon a time as a deputy district attorney in Lynn County. There may have been hypothetically appellate case law that said. that you
Might
can't-
have been hypothetically.
That, well, there's case law that said. You can't force them to live can't force them to live in the county. But if you wanted the job, you lived in the county.
Right.
Or you rented an apartment in the county. And that's just the way it was.
Say, might have been. Yeah. Possibly.
No, I know a couple of people that rented a. So. Other counties.
Exactly. All right.
And I think it's along the same lines you want them to vote.
So what I'm hearing is we're just gonna leave it as is.
Yeah, forget we even talked about it.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Exactly. What did you say? We're gonna leave it as is.
After you cross yours off.
Oh, no, I just crossed off what I wrote
Oh.
this time.
You know what happens.
I'm reading H.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that under our current structure would not be an issue because we have an assistant city manager who would then fill that role.
We're
That's
talking
how I
about-
understand it.
We're talking about H,
H, yes.
Yeah,
and we're looking at Mike's, okay.
well, and I
Typically,
just,
council would appoint the assistant city manager as the part time. So like typically. I've seen where the city manager, when they're on vacation or whatnot, they designate the ACM. And But then when the position actually becomes vacant, the council then.
There's a difference between vacancy and
Yeah, just out of.
temporary.
Yeah.
That's my job. Did you notice I said director every time last night?
Wow.
It's only taken how many years?
So on. Looking at E, it says the manager must attend all council meetings, and then over on G, it says may attend meetings. So it's like demanding it in one, but G
Okay,
is
wait.
saying possible.
G, okay. Oh, okay.
Says it may, or wait.
And other employees designated by the council.
Yeah. So it's telling on
Yeah,
one, it says must
right.
attend, and the other one's saying may attend. So it's like there's two
Must.
musts.
So-
E says must attend, G says may take part in all council discussions.
Oh, but that's the end of it. So I just strike other employees designated by the council. I just strike the manager and just strike that and start with it, other.
Yeah.
Is that even necessary? Because we're talking about the manager and we go into employees.
Well, no, this,
That's
what I'm
why
talking
saying
about
that.
is
So we
manager,
strike,
manager.
we strike the first three words of that sentence and just start with other employees designated by the council may sit at council meetings but have no vote.
Yeah, and I'm going off of that because other employees has nothing to do with the manager.
Right, well, but the man, see, what Frank getting at is that in the earlier one, it says that they must, and in this one, they lump the manager in with the other employees and it says
Yeah.
may. So we just take the first three words off of that.
Well, but I think the manager and other employees designated by council may sit at council meetings.
But if you go back here and what Frank is saying,
E1, it says the
Yeah.
manager must attend all council meetings unless excused by the mayor or council.
I don't, those aren't necessarily inconsistent, are they?
It's.
well, one is a must and one is a may.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
But
One is an
but
attendant.
the must is he has to attend all unless excused.
The last sentence in G, the manager may take part, that little, the manager may take part in all council discussions should be moved under E.
Yeah, right.
So we just move the manager may take part in all council decisions over to E and then just get rid of the rest of G. Because no other city employees outside of Lisa need to be here for.
Oh, that's not true.
No, need to, I should say.
That's not true.
Who else has to be here? Oh,
Attorney.
yeah, there's that.
The attorney needs to be at meetings as often as possible,
Which will be identified
I
under
know,
city
but
attorney.
but
Yeah,
I'm just
Yeah.
running through. It's good to have our department heads at meetings. And while the dashboards are doing a good job doing overall like monthly looks at things. If they know what's going on in the other departments and they know what's going on with the council, they do a better job.
I agree.
Because I hate to say it, but this job's about relationships, especially in a small town.
Even more so than a big town.
And as we learned earlier this year, certain department heads knowing that council and staff have their back makes a big difference.
do we need to add a letter that allows the manager some authority over the city attorney for planning issues or not worry about that at all?
I wouldn't worry about that because it's under Mike's contract.
Okay,
They've done that under my contract. I don't think you wanna describe that.
I mean, we could end up back in 2004 when we lost a third of our revenue. and have to start hacking people.
Well, the other part of that is when you,
The next attorney.
Mike, the next attorney, I don't want to be.
Exactly.
I'm close to do it, so. Here.
It did interest me in the job. That's why I called Dave in here once upon a time. General Engineer. Hey, sir, it's okay, what have you been doing in the last 10 years?
He hated it when I called him sir,
Oh, yeah.
but you're the mayor. But you're a general.
I called him sir occasionally when it was just the two of us, those people, because I knew it irritated him. I can see it on his face.
Oh, yeah. So where are we at?
Are we on city attorney or? Are we still on city manager?
So the
I hope we get big enough one day to have a city attorney's office with employees.
I was reading, that. I was like, wait a minute, Mike don't have anybody that works with him.
yeah,
I don't want to get that big.
I edited that down quite a bit. I got rid of the.
Do we need to put in 8.2 subsection 1 that? We should be at all council meetings?
Yes.
8.2A, is that what?
Yeah.
And now I want to clarify again,
Let me rephrase that.
I drafted this.
I don't want to say contract. What's the difference between a contract and an in-house? What is the technical term for the in-house attorney?
Well, your in-house attorney would be a W-2 employee.
Okay.
I understand it.
I would say the attorney, if a W-2 employee must attend all council meetings.
That's every employee then, isn't it?
Oh,
No, it's the attorney.
Is a W.
If the attorney is a W-2 employee,
Let's say, quits and we don't hire attorney contract services.
because if we
You
contract,
don't want to
service,
pay to.
I don't want to pay for 2 hours of their time to just sit there.
Unless they're needed for that.
That's a good
Right.
thought.
Good call.
That makes sense.
Because not all attorneys have
So
a
maybe we
big
put
kind
that-
of heart like
So
someone.
maybe we put that may be required.
Yeah.
to attend? Do we change that to then just to may be required to attend?
Or
Yeah, because we could put it in the contract.
or do we
What
as
do you think, Dave? See-
David, you're making faces.
I know, I'm
that
seeing
worry-
Dave making faces.
It's the wheels turning.
You know, whenever you work with a professional who has independent licensure, their duties don't change depending on whether they're W-2 attorney or a contract attorney. So requiring their attendance versus not requiring their attendance is sort of arbitrary. If something goes down, your attorney is there and can handle it, they win. If they're not there, did they just commit malpractice by not showing up?
Okay, tell that to the other 3 contract attorneys we've had, when we haven't had the in-house attorney who billed us for every moment they sat here and did nothing.
I was one of them as a contract attorney.
But you didn't give us a bill for that.
But yes, I did. I billed for that.
No, you didn't.
Why do I?
Well, I saw your bills. Don't give me that.
Is that like a
That's a couple times.
is that like an unfortunately like necessary evil that has to deal with? You know,
Yeah.
and having that.
If attorneys weren't going for at a minimum 175 an hour,
No, I understand that it's an exorbitant amount of money. I get that. I totally get that, but I'm hearing like.
Low side.
I was being.
About 250.
Well, so I'm going by the last contract attorney we had and giving him a raise.
But I mean, if we don't have a city attorney and then we don't require the contracted attorney to be there and like David just said, you know, something goes down, that's a problem.
And I just copied the LOC.
I know, no, I know.
I was not,
Or we
I was doing this
just
for
put it
my
in their
own
contract.
See,
understanding.
that's what I'm thinking is we just put that in your contract.
Yeah, that's what I just assumed would happen.
I think that's the way to go.
Okay.
Because, yeah,
You do get into a arbitrary situation. And since I'm fortunate enough to have a handful of municipal clients, it's like kind of same conversation. How much lawyering do you want? If you don't tell me, I'm not your lawyer for it.
right.
Until you tell me, and if you're not having the every meeting, right, and spot issues proactively, then it's not my problem.
Well, the one, okay, so here's one thing I would like the attorneys to always be a part of, and that's staff meetings. Because then they're ahead of the game. And maybe that's something that shouldn't be covered in the charter, but needs to always be covered when we do contract stuff.
Yeah, that'd be the employment contract.
Right, because if you want to head off stuff, that's where you head off the wild blue yonder ideas that need to come back down.
Right.
Those are the ones that think outside the box.
Attorneys don't have a box.
Hey, David,
They make the box to fit.
we are at 1:20, so we have about 10 minutes left.
Go ahead.
They're just going off of the hour and a half or.
I've got a meeting I have to
Two on the
get to.
LOC, good. On the city attorney, on my city.
Point
I
two.
put this suggestion that I found somewhere, I think it was in I think it was in the national. The national template that I was looking at, but that I didn't include. But. You could give authority to settle claims, compromise debts and amounts not to exceed or whatever. And to settle claims, compromise debts. In consent with the city manager, and that way you're not.
I would say that would be a good thing to have in consent with the city manager, because then you're bound by the city manager's spending authority.
Right, and then you're not, you know, if it's limited to a certain amount, then you're not going into executive session. You get attorney-client advice to. You know, some of these smaller things you can deal with.
Good call, Doug.
What would be the limits of the limit?
Those one contractors and
City managers.
It's the one in the new one, the city attorney shall have the authority to settle claims. Mike.
Statement belongs in here, it belongs in the contract.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is that a contract part or is it a charter part?
Or is it?
I think it's giving the city attorney the authority in the charter.
Yeah,
I don't know that the council. In a way, it's the voters giving the council the authority to give. The voters giving the city attorney the authority to do it.
yeah.
I don't know that the council. I don't know what authority the council would put that in a contract.
I think that's fair as long as they're held to the meets and bounds of the spending limits of your city manager, so that they're, because you want them working together on what we can budgetarily afford.
We want to add that to 8.12A.
If that's the case, then do you actually want a dollar amount to exceed blah, 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 because if it's going.
No, because it changes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we just kind of word it so where it doesn't have the.
Not to exceed the
Not to exceed the spending limits of the city manager.
of the city manager.
Because they're talking about it going up again next session.
Well, the spending limits are set by the council to a point. Because
But
I know city managers out there that have $150. Yes, so. But I don't want it, but
I'm glad to hear that.
I would love to have that, because that would mean I'd have that much. More.
You want to try to go through 8.3, David?
In 5 minutes?
For and judge.
That's a big.
Yeah, that's kind of a big section.
I would say wait for next week, Tuesday, right? Yeah,
Yeah, next Tuesday.
our next meeting.
Got 10.
All I said, there's not much controversial in the municipal court judge section. And so on to the 528, we'll start at 8.3. On the LLC, and since Mike's was at 8.3 and Mike's on.
Yeah,
It's 8.3 on both.
That's based on what's already, was what we had.
All righty then. That's one for this meeting.
Please.
We'll adjourn this. This meeting of the Toledo City Charter Review Committee closed at 1:36.